Wendy, Pacers-Celtics tonight, game 2. Pacers feel like they let one slip away, obviously. Coach Carlisle came on here and said too many turnovers, everything, but he was happy with how the guys fought. What do you expect tonight? What are you kind of looking for as the Pacers? 8.5-point dogs, which is a bit surprising to me.
Up to
what do you
9
think about
in some
tonight?
places too, AJ.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay, so what I'll take away from that game, obviously it was a devastating loss. And there's no other way. I could go on and on about it. I won't. That game was played as a Pacer game. That was a Pacer game. They played fast, high possessions. Everything about that game was an Indiana Pacers game, which is why they should have won it, which is why they were 99.5% or whatever to win it. They dictated the style of play. And that's exactly what happened in the Knicks series. Every single one of those games, even the games where the Knicks blew the Pacers out, were Pacer games. And if you're Boston, a team that is used to dominating games and dictating the pace and playing defense, you don't want to play Pacer games. You don't want to play these games where I think the Pacers got up 99 shots in that game. They had 22 turnovers and got up 99 shots. That's a Pacer game. If you keep playing Pacer games, the Pacers are going to win.
Hell yeah.
Now, maybe they won't get to you in 7, but you can't keep playing Pacer games. I watched this happen to the Knicks. They started doing this. Okay, so to me, the big thing tonight is this going to be a Pacer game or is this going to be a Celtic game?
Pacer.
Because if it's a Pacer game, even if the Pacers lose,
It's a Pacer game.
that to me says a lot. Not just about whether the Pacers are going to win this series, but about how the Celtics are going forward. That's what I'm watching tonight.
Yeah, and it's a lot of this.
Up and down.
And if you're not ready, if you're running your first marathon here, Eastern Conference Final against this Pacers team since January,
Good luck.
I mean, it's a whole different ballgame. It really, and they pride themselves. Coach Carlisle was like, yeah, it takes a lot of commitment, he knows, they know that it's a lot. There was conversation about that, I think, last series with the Knicks when everybody was just playing like 48 minutes. They were like, there's no human would be able to just keep up with our pace if they're able to do it. That's why they have such a deep bench. They're like a defensive line. They are rotating and everybody's contributing, and their confidence, even after the devastating giveaway, I assume, is going to remain high. Now, Connor is on the side of hoping that is not the case. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, really hoping it's not. And Wendy, I think a lot of people don't think the Celtics are as deep as the Pacers, but once Porzingis comes back and then Horford goes to the bench, that does kind of equate what they rock with and what the Celtics have. But if it is a run and gun game, and you just mentioned, even if the Celtics win a run and gun game, that they will still view that as a win, at least you will, because of the fact that they're playing their basketball and they're not kind of being dictated by the Celtics. But if the Celtics do dictate the game and they do kind of figure out how to slow down the Pacers, do you see this kind of changing this series? Do you think that there's any way that the Pacers will say, like, okay, you know what? We've done this twice, run and gun. The first game was close. The second game was close, but we still haven't really been able to make any headway as far as winning the games? Or do you think that this is going to be, hey, who's going to have the best cardio for a 7-game series? And the Celtics, do you think that they will be able to kind of play that type of basketball? And how does their recovery kind of change? Because a lot of times, at least I think in the past, it hasn't been every other scheduled every other night. There had been a couple differences, but this year it feels like, hey, they're going every other night no matter what. The finals are set for June 6th. It's happening June 6th. How do you see that happening?
Yeah, I think the Pacers are going to pace. They're going to do what they do. And, the Pacers are a team of mistakes. What I mean by that is the way that they play, super fast, lots of passes all over the place.
390.
They're gonna make mistakes, but they're also going to have 125 possessions, and they're going to make successes. And so that's the way they're going to play. I don't think they're equipped to play any other way, but it also makes them resilient because they're used to making mistakes. Unfortunately, they made a couple mistakes in the last minute. But I actually respect the way they handle their business. I really have come to respect the Pacers after watching them in the in-season tournament, after watching them every night in this Celtics series. So the Celtics have got to Celtic, which is they're the number 1 or number 2 defensive team. They usually crush other teams in three-point shooting. The Pacers outshot them on threes the other night. I think that the Celtics might have had 2 more overall, but the Pacers outshot them in percentage. The Celtics win by firing a ton of threes and forcing stops and getting like that. That's the way they need to play. The Celtics can probably beat the Pacers playing high tempo over the course of a long series. But the more they do that, the more they open themselves up to problems. And every game this goes on, the more the Celtics open themselves up to problems because we know that the Celtics are prone to kicking games away.
Windy.
Amen.
And you just said the Celtics can play Pacers basketball and beat
probably. They won 64 games there. And I will say this.
Thank you, Windy. Everyone's bitching about not being battle tested. And it's like, hey, why do we play 82 freaking games? Like, what's the point of playing 82 if when we get to the playoffs, everyone's going to bitch as if that we didn't get tested?
Pacers are a different team in the playoffs.
I agree.
Different team.
Yeah, but they did win 64 games, and they're 9-2 in the postseason. I realize that they're not blowing teams out by 20 while riding a white stallion, but they are still doing fine. They're just not hitting the standard that people would like to see.